whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. It is another edition of Random Topic Sundays. I'm your host with the most, Gavin Richard. Welcome everyone to Gavin Richard Presents here on my channel, gboot2786, and on Gavin Richard, my backup channel. And also, if you're watching via Periscope at GavinRich2786 on Twitter, we'll be discussing today the following: putting the victim on trial in the Ahmaud Arbery murder case. Vietnam veteran stands up to transsexual city council person. And also, NBC sees low ratings for the Olympics as they say farewell. Bon voyage. People, we are going to have a hot one. I want to apologize for changing the time up. I know I was supposed to actually start a couple hours early, but some things have come up that I was taking care of. So you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We're going to get started in a moment. Of course, we always got to get on up. And I want to send a special shout out to everybody. A couple of things. Those that have purchased my seasoning blends, NornisCreoleBlends.com. If you are listening live, if those are there, your orders will be out by tomorrow. So you'll be getting those shortly. Also, just go to that website, NornisCreoleBlends.com, NornisCreoleBlends.com. Our catchphrase is try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nornis goes great with every dish. Also, we have, I wasn't going to talk about that. We also have our single, Gotta Get On Up, which you can stream. You can also download on Apple, Spotify, and iTunes. Is good if you buy it. What's up, Derek Bailey? Shout out to them. Let me see if they've been, I don't know if this is happening, but I just want to check and make sure they haven't been messing with the channel, because I'm live now. I just want to make sure that we have the super chat going right now. Let's see. I would play my song normally. You guys know I do normally do it, but I just don't feel like writing another email explaining why I own the rights to this song and so forth. So it's something I got to handle with my record company, because the music business has changed today. But it's still great if you guys can download the song, check it out, stream it, and play it. It's much appreciated. The music business has changed this day, especially in how artists, songwriters get money. Of course, with the internet, they count streaming almost like radio play, which means you don't get that much. You only, if you have $1 million song, if your song sells copies, meaning people are physically purchasing it, you make money from that. But when they stream it, it's not the same amount of revenue. And a lot of record companies now, how they get over on people, a la your, for instance, your TLC and so forth, although they didn't have the internet back then, the record companies are holding the checks. So that's a problem that goes on. But we're going to go ahead and get started, but you guys can still check out Gotta Get On Up. It's available on iTunes, on Spotify, and Apple. And also, if you would like, again, we talked about the advertisement opportunities. I've got to go back over that. If you guys would like to advertise, you can send an email, gavin.grich1@gmail.com. We're all about promoting businesses. And also, if you can donate to the channel, if you would like, you see the ticker at the bottom. But, you know, send a like, a share, a subscribe, get your friends, get your neighbors to subscribe to this channel, because that does even better for me. When we get more and more people, we're going to eventually have 1 million people on YouTube, although I've been trying to move away from YouTube. I can't lie. All the janky stuff that they've been doing with people's channels, but we keep it moving. We keep it moving. I'm not showing myself today. I'm going to do like Nicole when her hair is messed up and she don't like to come on. Not that I have hair, but I just want to go blank for today. We'll do the FaceTiming or for a later date. But shout out to all the people that are in the chat right now. Let's see who we got. I saw Derek Bailey. Shout out to him. Ashon Lewis, what's up, man? Steve, what's up? I figured I'd come on here early so that way I wouldn't be competing with the Black Authority or Tariq Nasheed to get started. I know some people probably are coming home from church because it's Sunday. If you're going to church, some of my viewers don't, but if you are, I just want to let you know. So Ashon is here. Derek Bailey, shout out to him. Steve, all right, what's up, Steve? And we got people watching on Gavin Richard and on G Boot. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the topic started, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we can start with this, of course, is called Putting the Victim on Trial. Now, you guys already know I did a video and we talked about murder in Brunswick on my channel last year. You guys know about brother Ahmaud Arbery. He was the young brother that was killed out in Brunswick, Georgia, as he was jogging, where two white individuals, these assholes, Gregory and Travis McMichael, thought, and another guy by the name of William Bryan, if I'm not mistaken. It's three individuals that are charged, but they thought this man was stealing or breaking into homes. They mistook him for a burglar, and of course that has been debunked. While he was in the wasn't an abandoned building, it was owned by somebody, but there was some construction work going on. He was checking it out, and they have never been able to confirm that he was the burglar or not, and the guy who broke into other people's cars. And in fact, they actually found footage of other individuals that have been going into that same house, that same building, white and black. But what they're doing earlier this past week, the lawyers for Gregory and Travis McMichael, Greg is the father who worked with the police department. He was an investigator for the district attorney's office, and his son is Travis McMichael, right there. Literally baked Alaska, this asshole. The father and son, respectively, who chased down Arbery in their pickup truck before fatally shooting him 3 times at close range. Yeah, he shot him with the shotgun. If you've seen that video, they have filed a motion through their attorneys that the prosecutors stop referring Ahmaud Arbery as a victim for the same reasons. They're stating that it would cause the danger of unfair prejudice among the jurors. Judge Timothy Walmsley, who is the presiding judge in this case, permitted only one photo of Arbery when living to be shown during the trial, that he be depicted alone and not in the company of loved ones, and that he be identified to the court during trial by a non-family member. In the filing, the defense team argues that to allow more photos would potentially create the danger of unfair prejudice among jurors. Now, what they are doing, guys, and you've seen photos like they did with Trayvon Martin. If you remember what happened in Trayvon Martin, the defense was allowed to put on and show pictures of Trayvon with his shirt off, with grill in his mouth. I'll never forget that. They showed him with his hands across his chest like a gangster. And they did that because they were trying to assert a justifiable homicide defense. And that's what they're doing here. Now, that requires them, it's not a surprise, to put the victim, the person who was killed, on trial, because that's the only defense that they can logically make. They can't say, certainly I don't think they can say claim an insanity defense, because these guys were following him, so they weren't out of their minds. This was a former police officer. The other one is a veteran in the United States Coast Guard. Remember the prosecutors in Brunswick, they kicked the bucket multiple times to try and prevent the two district attorneys actually kicked the bucket and passed this along like hot potato because they didn't want to prosecute these officers, these two, well, not officers, but these two men, because the daddy knew everybody. So because they're putting Ahmaud Arbery on trial and basically arguing a self-defense claim, they are trying to maintain that they are actually the victims, even though we see video footage clearly showing Ahmaud was the one being chased down. Now, that video footage went viral, of course, back in February, sometime after February of 2020, I believe, when it was leaked back in April. A lawyer for a man who was entertaining to be counsel for the McMichaels, he leaked the footage. And when it got out and everybody saw what happened, immediately there was an uproar that charges be brought against the McMichaels. And that took a lot to do. But it goes further. Now, I don't like quoting Yahoo News because they are biased in their reporting, but what they're saying is correct in this aspect. The filing goes on to note that the Michaels do not concede that criminal conduct occurred in this case, and the use of loaded words such as identifying Arbery as a victim tacitly ascribes guilt to the McMichaels, denying them the presumption of innocence. Now, you guys know, being that I'm a lawyer, I've always believed in the presumption of innocence, but the video was very clear what we saw. And, it's hard when especially you have video footage, although I don't know what defense they're going to make. I have an idea of what defense they're going to make. They're going to fear for their life. He was wrestling for the gun, even though they were ones that were armed and he wasn't. And they are not police officers, and that's something that's key. They followed Arbery. They didn't call the police. They didn't tell the police to go after him. They followed him like a posse. Goes on to say, and I'm reading through the article, it was William Rody Bryan. That was his name. And remember, it came up from the report, the Georgia Bureau Investigation Unit. They actually had preliminary hearings going on before, and they had found, the chief investigator had found evidence from looking at Reverend McMichael's phone, Travis McMichael's phone, excuse me, about him calling this kid a nigger. And I'm not just talking about that, but also just various other things that he's allegedly said and did. Brian got in trouble because they found he actually had hit, according to their testimony, he hit Arbery with his vehicle. Let's see if I can play that clip.
And the hearing for the men charged with murder.
I got to claim copyright before I get hit with anything. Copyright Act of 1976 allows for, under the Fair Use Act of 1976, allows for copywritten material to be shown for purposes of news, commentary, criticism, or educational purposes. And that's what this is about. So let me go ahead and share that with you guys right now. What's up, Otis? Nicole is doing fine. She tested negative for COVID. Her husband, though, he has a long recovery ahead. Nicole, if you're watching, we still send our prayers and love to you. And AJ and you guys, please be safe and stay quarantined. And let me just say this is another thing. We got to get to the point where we got to not attack one another about whether who takes what, who's going to take this vaccine, or you better take this. See, I don't like stuff like that. And right now we're going to be on the edge of war. We're close to we're already over the edge. The question is, are you going to deploy your parachute? Because it's getting to a point, guys, where people are frustrated and upset about what's going on, what's happening, how this stuff is attacking people who are not vaccinated are getting attacked. People that are vaccinated are getting called stupid and stuff like that for taking it. But the unvaccinated too are being attacked as well. And more is gonna come. But let's not get off subject.
Murdering Ahmaud Arbery. Investigators say Travis McMichael used a racial slur while Arbery lay dying on the ground. State prosecutors laid out their case for charging all three men with felony murder today. In a preliminary hearing of the case, William Roddy Bryan waived his court appearance. Investigators said that the men blocked 25-year-old jogger Ahmaud Arbery from leaving the neighborhood before he was shot and killed. News4 Jax reporter Kelly Wiley is joining us live, listening to the hours-long hearing. And Kelly, this bombshell, it was tough to hear.
It's very tough to hear. His family was inside the courtroom as this was said. The investigator that was saying this information was uncomfortable. He even said that too. But essentially, he said that after the shooting, but before police showed up, one of the witnesses, Roddy Bryan, said he heard Travis McMichael say the N-word as Ahmaud Arbery was laying on the ground. Today, startling new developments out of the preliminary hearing in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. The lead investigator in the case revealing one of the suspects overheard the man who shot Arbery call him the N-word after the shooting.
I want to ask you about a particular quote that Travis McMichael stated on the crime scene that was overheard by one of the defendants and shared with investigators prior to police arrival.
Today, we heard that Travis McMichael, over the body of Ahmaud Arbery, said the N-word. How does that leave you feeling?
It broke my heart for this mom.
The lead investigator for GBI's investigation, Richard Dial, also revealed this isn't the first time Travis McMichael has used the word, saying investigators found multiple instances of Travis McMichael using the word on social media and in messages.
But one particular one that comes to mind is he made a statement that he loved his job because he was out on a boat and there weren't any N-words anywhere.
The state's questioning of the lead investigator also led to information on why Greg McMichael said he decided to pursue Arbery.
I gotta go back. Did y'all hear that?
His statement.
Hold on, I gotta go back. I don't understand that. I gotta hear that again.
Saying investigators found multiple instances.
Look, this motherfucker looked like a orangutan's knuckle. Look at that.
Instances of Travis McMichael using the word on social media and in messages.
But one particular one that comes to mind is he made a statement that he loved his job because he was out on a boat and there weren't any N-words anywhere.
The state's questioning of the lead investigator also led to information on why Greg McMichael said he decided to pursue Arbery through the neighborhood.
His statement to the effect is he didn't know Mr. Arbery had stolen anything or not, but he had a gut feeling that Mr. Arbery may have been responsible for thefts that were in the neighborhood.
And coming up at 6 o'clock, we are going to tell you more about Roddy Bryan's role in this. According to the investigator, we knew that multiple times he had used his vehicle, according to these warrants, to block off Arbery, but that was really laid out today by the GBI investigator. We're going to lay that out for you at 6 o'clock.
And Kelly, we know attorneys warned Ahmaud Arbery's family that they would hear that racial slur today and that it could be a pretty difficult day in court, right?
This was, I mean, we weren't in the same room as them. They had us they had the family in that main courtroom, and then they had all the press in the jury room listening to it over video. It's very different now because of COVID-19 and people trying to take those social distancing precautions. But this was hard, I think, for everybody in the room to hear. Race was brought up not just once, but several times. They talked about the history of Travis McMichael using that word on his social media, in his messages to other people that day of the shooting. But they also talked about
like Clyde. He looked like Clyde from Clint Eastwood. Let me go back. Let's look at him. Y'all ever see that Clint Eastwood movie where he was fighting he was in bar fights and he had an orangutan as a partner? Clyde. Come on, Clyde. Get up. Bunch of BS. Ahmaud Arbery's. I'm a biggest shout out to Taisha Essex here, because I'm glad she's here. But black people, right turn, Clyde. He looked like he could punch a sheriff's deputy, like Clyde. Right turn, Clyde.
You got it real good, Jonah. You got it real good with that one. Shut your hole. Except this time, ain't gonna be no 80 roast. No, this time it's gonna be a 8 roast. Right turn, Clyde. Hey, Chola.
I don't know if y'all can hear. Oh, right turn, Clyde.
Right turn, Clyde.
Y'all hear?
Right turn, Clyde.
Onward.
Onward. Any which way you can. Pinky with no brain. Oh, brain, you can't do that. Your pinky and the brain, 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 brain. Oh, I'll put it back.
Onward.
Right turn, Clyde.
Right turn, Clyde. But anyway, I might get another copyright strike, so I have to play only a snippet of it. But that was some BS. So as we move forward, let me move on, because I spent enough time with this. But let's finish the video.
Child, and then add on that extra layer. I can't imagine how difficult this must have been for her. But yes, she did leave the courtroom, from what we understand from her attorneys, and came back later on.
Thank you. Kelly Weiler reporting live for us today from Brunswick.
Demonstrators who gathered outside the Brunswick courthouse earlier plan to return within the hour to call for justice. News4JAX reporter Joe McLean was there on the steps of the courthouse as the sizable demonstration was unfolding. He's joining us live now. Joe.
Every which way.
Dozens of demonstrators outside the court hearing for Greg McMichael, Travis McMichael, and Roddy Bryan. No bond. The crowd calling for the three men charged in the death of Ahmaud Arbery to be kept in jail throughout the court proceedings.
I just feel like if they grant them bond, then they're ignoring, the pain for the family and just in general, just what's right.
For many taking part in the demonstration, Arbery, who was just 25 years old when he died, represented members of their own families.
It means a lot to me because I have a young son too. I have a 31-year-old son, and this has gone on so long. And I have two sons and a daughter, and all my people that I see constantly. We're tired of losing our family, our brothers, our sons, our fathers. We're tired of losing them, and nothing's being done.
All of the demonstrators say they want a conviction for all three of the men accused.
Ahmaud's going to get justice. We're going to make sure, and everybody who looks like him. We're here. We're not going anywhere, and as long as this lasts, we're going to be here.
Now, we have been hearing that another demonstration is going to be reconvening here at 5:45 within the hour. So we're going to be checking back in on News4JAX at 6. Reporting live in Brunswick, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4, the local station.
All right, so we got more of this to come. But essentially, this is what they do, Gut Family. They will go and blame the victim, the murder suspect. If they're claiming self-defense, that's their job. The defense has the burden of proof then to prove that they acted in self-defense by preponderance of the evidence. Now, when the prosecutor's trying to prove their case, meaning they're trying to charge them with felony murder, they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's a lower burden of proof for a defendant to prove self-defense. They just need the preponderance of the evidence. Now, I'm not going to argue the case necessarily, the facts, because it's going on right now. It's ongoing. That's not to say that I align with them by no means, but the video speaks for itself, what we saw. And the fact that they were following this young man while he was jogging. Again, if you thought that the man was stealing something, first instinct should have been to call the police and not pursue like they did. And Roddy Bryan's ass tried to play it off. Remember when he was on CNN and tried to play it off like he was an innocent bystander, and we finding out more of his involvement? Let's see if I can go to that right quick. But Roddy, they said that he actually...
Now to an update on the Ahmaud Arbery investigation. Strong words from the lead investigator in the case today, who said the 25-year-old was pursued and hunted the day he was killed.
He was pursued and hunted on the day he was killed, according to the GBI. Now, why did it take almost several months to get a prosecution? That's because the Brunswick DA, as well as other district attorney in that area, two of them, a man and a woman, they refused or did not want to press charges. And remember, they released that letter that essentially tried to exonerate Travis and Gregory like they did nothing wrong. They exonerated the McMichaels, even though they had access to the body camera footage.
I don't believe it was self-defense by Mr. McMichael. I believe it was self-defense by Mr. Arbery.
The investigator also revealed a witness heard the shooter, Travis McMichael, use a racial slur after shooting Arbery. Travis, his dad Greg, and William Roddy Bryan, who recorded video of the shooting, are all charged with felony murder. A judge has ruled that the cases against all three can advance to the trial court. News4JAX reporter Joe McLean has been talking to demonstrators outside the courthouse. And we begin with News4JAX I-Team investigator Kelly Wiley, who was inside the courtroom. Kelly.
Well, the whole point of this hearing today was to see if there was enough evidence to move forward with the case. Today, in fact, we learned a lot of new information that we didn't know about this investigation. Investigators said that Ahmaud Arbery, they found evidence consistent with the fact that he was hit by a truck, that he was blocked from escaping from the neighborhood, and that eventually they found he stopped and chose to fight for his life in his last moments. New revelations are coming out of the preliminary trial for Ahmaud Arbery. The lead investigator in the GBI's investigation say they found evidence father and son Travis and Gregory McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan prevented 25-year-old Arbery from fleeing the neighborhood the day of the deadly shooting, chasing him for more than 4 minutes, and at one point pinning Arbery between their two trucks.
Pursuit, hunt, something along those lines. Those are the words you would use. That's the words I would use, yes, sir. I believe Mr. Arbery's decision was to just try to get away. When he felt like he could not escape, he chose to fight.
The investigator testified GBI found evidence Arbery might have been hit by Roddy Bryan's truck during the pursuit, saying they found a palm print on the rear door of Bryan's truck, cotton fibers near the truck.
Let me stop the video. I'm going to play it some more, but let me just say this. Anytime you, and again, I got to clarify because for those out there, they know that I'm a lawyer. They're going to say if they get in trouble that Gavin is my lawyer. That's who I listen to on YouTube. And then I'm going to get a bar complaint saying, why did you tell this woman you are a lawyer? You don't have a contract. You represent this woman. No, I don't. Let me just clarify for the record, ladies and gentlemen. I got to do this. The information that I'm providing from a legal perspective based off my knowledge does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. So these are my opinions alone. And I'm just relating what the facts are based off my knowledge, just so everybody knows. But what I'm going to say next is the fact that he may have not gotten out of the car does not exonerate him. If he aided and abetted in this crime, if he did anything even as innocent as following them with the intent to trap Mr. Arbery in some way, shape, or form, that's why he got charged with being a principal to first-degree murder, felony murder. By the way, they are also facing federal charges as well for hate crimes based off this information. So if they don't get them this way, they can get them that way. But felony murder, obviously, that's a huge one because that means you can qualify. I don't know, it wouldn't be a capital murder per se, or it could be actually. Depending on Georgia's statute, I'm not fully aware. But if they wanted to charge him with felony murder or capital, or here in Louisiana, we have murder, first-degree murder, and first degree is the highest you can get, and you can be eligible for death if you were engaged in a enumerated felony. Now, what this seems like and what they were trying to do, obviously, was a lynch mob. They formed a posse, like I said. And the reason why I don't think you can make a citizen's arrest defense for this is that they had no knowledge under the Georgia statute, and I've actually read it, as to witnessing Ahmaud Arbery commit a crime. The most that he did was trespassing. And trespassing in all states, if I'm not, is a misdemeanor. I know in Louisiana it's a misdemeanor. It's a very minor offense. It's an offense, but it is not enough to warrant hunting someone down. But anytime you with someone, they'll get you in like Ray Lewis, that all in charge. Everybody was part of this in some way, shape, or form. You're a principal. If you had aided directly or indirectly in its commission.
Bed and a dent below the fibers. Perhaps the biggest bombshell of the day was the racial slur.
I'm gonna tell you something that I'm gonna play the video again, but because I see my sister girl Taisha Essex in here, and I'm gonna invite Taisha if she's listening to come on in, because I want to comment with you just briefly on it. I'm gonna hold on, see if she can check your your Facebook Messenger. I want you here, and I'm specifically about the Second Amendment, about guns for a minute. I want you to just comment, Taisha, if you could, briefly.
Alleged shooter Travis McMichael was overheard saying as Arbery lay bleeding out on the road. Investigator Dow testified his investigators found evidence Travis McMichael had a history of using the word.
He says, makes the comment that would only be better if they'd have blown that effing N-words or blown that N-words head off. He made the statement that he loved his job because he was out on a boat and there weren't any N-words anywhere.
According to investigators, Travis's father, Greg McMichael, told Glenn County
N-words anywhere. You know them niggers can't swim, Bobby. I'm so glad.
Investigators, he followed Arbery on a hunch.
He makes admissions to seeing Mr. Arbery running down the roadway. His statement to the effect is he didn't know Mr. Arbery had stolen anything or not, but he had a gut feeling that Mr. Arbery may have been responsible for thefts that were in the neighborhood.
And the defense for Travis McMichael, ultimately at the end, when they had their last statements, they made the argument that this incident was the result of neighbors being concerned about theft, something that we've reported on before. And he said in the end that Arbery attacked Travis and it was an act of self-defense. You heard the investigator say he felt the opposite, that Arbery was actually acting in self-defense. Another interesting piece of information that got kind of lost in all the new revelations that came out of today was about the gun that Greg McMichael had at the time. They said this was his department-issued firearm, despite the fact that he'd been retired from law enforcement, a retired district attorney investigator for several months, and he had not been with the Glenn County Police Department for several years. For now, reporting in Brunswick, Kelly Wiley, Channel 4, the local station.
All right. And it looks like she's on. Stuff is not connected, but the only reason why I'm bringing Taisha on, hopefully we get her in a minute, but worst thing that Ahmaud Arbery did was he was not strapped legally. You got to step your Second Amendment game up, people. You got to step your Second Amendment game up. Taisha, she has, come on, Taisha, where you at? You got to step your Second Amendment game up, guys, because especially nowadays, this last year that we've had with Trump losing the election, we have President Biden talking about, and he hasn't done it yet, but I mean, the things that he's trying to implement with regards to gun control. You would not want to be the only person in America unable to protect yourself from criminal elements that are in your community, but also white supremacists that hunt you down. Why would you want to be unarmed and every white person is armed? Back when my grandfather was coming up, there's a misconception that black people grinned and bared it, just went along to get along with violence. I know of some people who threw down back then. Here in Louisiana especially is home to people such as the Deacons for Defense out of Bogalusa, Louisiana. They stood up against Klan violence. They didn't tolerate that shit. When the Klan was actually trying to come in their community, those men had sniper rifles. These were former Army veterans, World War II and World War I veterans, Korean veterans that were armed. And they told them, turn your ass around. Hold on. See, they didn't tolerate that stuff. They didn't tolerate all of that stuff. And a lot of people think that it was all, we were all peaceful and nonviolent, and you got to pray to make it through the day. You can pray. You can do all of that. And they better pray that I don't blow the rest of their ass off. You got to defend yourself. I'm not talking about going out killing people. Let me be clear. I'm careful with my words. But exercise your Second Amendment rights. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be ignorant of things when the information is out there, like Brother Ron Hurd would say. The information is there. Truth and knowledge is power. Trying to see if Queen Taisha is coming. I saw her trying to come on. Well, in the meantime, before she comes on, if she does come, I guess we can move into our next topic, and I'll come back to the Second Amendment thing in a little bit. But this is a little lighthearted news here. A Vietnam veteran stands up to a transsexual city council person. Now, I don't know if y'all have seen anything like this. You probably have not. But this took the cake for me.
For nearly
This literally. Before I do that, I'm gonna put a link to the Ahmaud Arbery comment when I was there. But is she here? Okay. Oh,
I just got finished working out, so I'm sorry. I gotta stay hidden for a minute.
Oh, there we go. It's all right. I'm staying hidden too. What's up, Taisha?
I am good. Thank you so much for bringing attention to this topic. You know, people seem to forget. We get distracted. So thank you for staying on this. This means a lot. So thank you.
Oh, no problem, baby. Thank you for tuning in on the last minute. I just was since I saw you there, I just wanted to bring you in because I wanted to shout out your website and your information because you have been on the warpath, especially with trying to get Black Americans on their Second Amendment game. So what I was talking about, and I guess we can go back to the Ahmaud Arbery situation, is only thing you can find fault with is why he wasn't strapped. But then again, I realized if he was strapped too, and this situation have happened, they would have tried to use that against him as well, because that's perfect for a defense claim, a self-defense. Well, he had a gun. I didn't know he had a gun. But, you know, Black people still legally need to step their Second Amendment game up. And I know you got products and stuff on your website that's available, and you could tell people a little bit about it. But as also being that you're a former veteran yourself and a police officer, what you saw in that video with Ahmaud Arbery, what were your takes on it?
Thank you so much for the spotlight as well. I greatly appreciate that, and shout out to the family in the room. And just the thing of it is with our Second Amendment right and firearms ownership and, you know, our right to defend ourselves. Having a firearm does not mean you go out and pick a fight or go commit crimes. No, we're out here to defend ourselves. That means you F word with me, I'm going to F word with you. I'm not, you know, on some you F word with me and I'm going to put my hands together and forgive and pray. No, you know, I believe law of nature is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever you bring to me, I'm gonna bring it back to you. And that's how we have to, you know, think. And also situational awareness. Everybody knows that, you know, I was in the Navy. That's where I learned the terms situational awareness. Do not be a soft target. You know, they taught us about, you know, the threat from overseas or the unknown threat. We're always thinking about something foreign that was, you know, a danger to us instead of what was domestic. And we've seen that within the last few years, you know, with the help of social media and, you know, people's eyes opening to the threats that are in our very own neighborhoods. I live here in Georgia. I just got finished, you know, putting in a couple of miles through my neighborhood. And when our brother Ahmad Arbery was murdered, it was actually a week after I moved here to Georgia last year. So once that happened, it just really messed with my mind. Here I am, I'm happy to be in Georgia, I want to go out and work out, but then that happened. So I was in the house. My son, he competed at the Junior Olympics with track. It stressed me out because I'm like, my child can't even go outside and work out. And then all of a sudden I was like, damn that, And that's when my store gained momentum. People were inspired. Like, look, I'm not going to stay in the house. I'm not going to be afraid in the city, county that I pay taxes in and have to stay in the house and let other people scare me in the house. Damn that. So that's when my store Timonics.com took off. And I've been pushing that ever since. And I wanted to create a place where we have brothers and sisters who are in law enforcement, the courts, yourself as an attorney, the great, most honorable Judge Joe Brown, who advise us and tell us about our rights. We are not illegal aliens here. We are freaking citizens. We have rights, and we have to ensure that we are protected and we have the advantages, to protect ourselves. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. God dang it. So that's my platform. And I got to a point where I used to hide that I was a police officer. I'm not a police officer now. I left that job. But the skills that we gained with firearms, self-defense, situational awareness, the law, case law, stuff like that. And after a while, it was what happened to our brother, Philando Castile. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out here with it. I finally figured out a way to be an asset to my community. And that was it.
Yeah, most definitely. We need more like that. And people, there are also some Black clubs like here in I'm chairperson, leading person for Black Gun Owners Association, the local chapter here. We have Nola Naga. We have Naga, although I know that name may, I don't know if it fits with Black people. The Naga. Come here, Naga.
National African American Gun Owners Association.
African American Gun Owners Association, right. There's also, we have groups like 2A Coffee out here, which is a Second Amendment group here in the local area. But you guys can look up, Black Gun Owners Association. I have to shout them out since I'm a member, as well as Nola Naga and a whole bunch of others groups, and even starting stuff out yourselves. But Taisha has taken her position as a Second Amendment advocate and made a business out of it, and you all should support her and go to her website, as well as going to the website where you can shop at Timonics. I was just sharing it earlier. This is her actual website, her personal website, and Timonics. But from looking at that video, from what you saw, and again, I have to say, as a lawyer, it's not about me defending or saying that they're right, but I believe, and I've always stated, it's the presumption of innocence, just in general. That's something I believe in, and I think most people understand that. I want to say most people do, but the video in and of itself, the video is what it is. These men, clearly, when I'm looking at it, they hunted him down.
Yes. What a lot of people don't realize, the area of Brunswick, that's where the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center is right there in Brunswick. And a lot of people in that area are connected to law enforcement. As you notice, the media tried to gear the McMichaels as if they were currently law enforcement, but they were former. They had no power. And in the video, they rushed to release the surveillance camera inside of the house that was in construction. They tried to hurry up and paint Mr. Arbery as he's responsible for his own murder. You know what I'm saying? And as the facts came out, and because we talk amongst ourselves, we have begun to not get our feelings in the forefront. We're like, hold on, let's take a look at this. people go and walk through houses in construction all the time. He was not in possession of burglary tools or nothing like that. This was in the daytime. Then, I think when I did a video commentary on what happened, and I pointed out, I believe I heard when, I think the dude's name is Roddy, when he was driving in his vehicle recording the exchange, it sounded as if it's an assumption, and allegedly he was racking up a slide back. That's what I heard. But, I wasn't there, so I can't say that. So it's like, this was a modern day lynching. This was a modern day lynching. You see the white pickup truck, you see dude in the back. Plus, two, they brought out a shotgun. You can't conceal carry a shotgun. That's for like home or hunting. And hunting is what they were doing. They brought that shotgun out and hunted down our brother as if he was, a deer or something. And this was not right. And we should not forget about this. And justice needs to be served. And I find it's really odd how they are prolonging this trial. The dude that went and shot up the brothels in Atlanta, he just accepted a plea deal in Cherokee County. And this is all within the same year.
Yeah. Well, what it was too was that the DA actually put out a letter and explaining why they were not going to press charges, and they made it look like, this DA didn't come across like he was a district attorney. He came across like he was a criminal defense lawyer, representing McMichaels. And where you're from, yeah. And I remember they had to pass it to different DAs, and I actually wrote, and I'm not going to hold it private. I wrote to the Georgia Bar Association telling them that these prosecutors need to be disciplined in some way if they find anything, because it's inappropriate that you have something where there's a murder that takes place and you don't want to bring that murderer, those suspected murderers, I should say, to trial where a jury can decide their fate. It was clear by what we saw from the video, or even rather unclear, so that all the facts and evidence can come out. That's why you have a trial. That's why you do a trial. And if you have probable cause, the DA is supposed to follow that. And it came across like they were not interested in doing that. The police chief, the sheriff's department, I believe they hid the police. They had hid some information, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong in what I'm saying, but that was a type of stuff that was going on, and rightfully so. They got everybody criticized them for this.
Exactly. It sounds like a case of hot potato this, hot potato that, and they're just trying to prolong these proceedings in hopes that, the public forget about it, and, something crazy happened. But we have to stay vigilant and also, hold them to the fire on this. That brother was out there minding his own business in his own neighborhood, and these monsters, I gotta say allegedly, have not been convicted, but did this to him on video. But
Right.
But yeah, that's my big thing is with our brothers and sisters out here. Do not be afraid to live. I believe the hashtag with our brother Ahmad was jogging while black, and it's like, it put the spotlight that black men, black people, not forgetting about our sister, our fallen sister Breonna Taylor, is that they don't get their chance to testify in court. They don't get their day in court or whatever. Their lives are taken from them, and it has to be stopped. And I'm surprised that the hate crime enhancement came out of this, but yes, it is a hate crime. We have to call things what they are, and we have to encourage the family to stop this forgiveness crap. We need justice. We need protection when these things are happening.
Most definitely. That's the ex-Brunswick prosecutor, Jackie Johnson, and the other prosecutor, I believe, was George Barnhill. But we, several of other attorneys that live out there, a brother by the name of Brian Pounder, shout out to him. He went on a warpath as well, trying to get charges brought on the McMichaels and William Roddy Bryan as a result of what happened. And Brian was, remember, if you when he was on CNN, he was trying to make it look like he was just an innocent bystander didn't know what was going on, and now the GBI investigator said, "Nah, bro, you followed him, and we found his fibers from his clothes and a fingerprint from his hand that he likely was struck." And I just say likely because I don't know all of the evidence, and it's alleged, obviously, since this is an ongoing case, that they tried to basically kidnap this guy. They kidnap, and imprison him. I should say falsely imprison him. At least that's why he got hit with that charge. So and I think the reason they had to do the enhancement was because there was just so much outrage and it was on tape. They couldn't ignore it. So we'll sacrifice these three, but it doesn't surprise me that they're putting him on trial because that's the only claim that they can make in terms of self-defense, because they're going with that argument.
And how are you claiming self-defense when our fallen brother Ahmad was unarmed? He was not in possession of burglary tools, and I'm familiar with trespassing laws in the jurisdiction I was in Virginia. I'm pretty sure it mirrors what's down here, but with a trespassing charge, it's so much with that. For the jurisdiction I was in back in Virginia, you can't just charge a person with trespassing, because as a police officer, or just a average citizen, you don't own that property. You're not in control of it. But then also with us, we had to have a letter on file from the homeowner or the property owner, and then that person, they had to be verbally warned to not return. So you can come onto a property. If you're told, do not come back, we don't want you here, then you come back as trespassing, but it's a freaking misdemeanor,
right. Right, it's a misdemeanor, and it varies based off the case and the jurisdiction and what the facts are. If you're told to leave and you refuse, then that's considered trespassing. If you're walking up a private driveway or walkway, you come knock on the door, and that's not trespassing in of itself. If the owner says, I don't want you back here, or if there are signs that say, no trespassing, please do not enter, then that may be a little different thing. Here, we don't know. That didn't happen. This was a house that was being constructed, worked on, and the video footage showed other people going inside there. So they didn't know at that time Ahmaud Arbery had committed any crime. If anything, they also wanted to say that he supposedly, they tried to bring up all of his criminal record and stuff like that, but that had nothing to do with it. But it's a matter of putting the victim on trial, and what they're trying to do now is, they only want one photo shown, and they don't want him referred to as victim. It's similar to what they did with Trayvon, and because that's the only thing they can do is demonize the victim in this case. And I'm sure they're going to bring up his past, which obviously has nothing to do with it, but they try and find a way to make their client look like the angel and the victim look like a demon. And that's the only thing that they can do. But what I want to say as well, what was interesting was that they had video footage of different individuals going into that building, into that house. So the owner himself says he didn't think Ahmaud took anything. Now in Georgia, I want to point this out, Georgia has a citizen's arrest statute, but the reason why that's not going to fly here was because you have to have had witnessed that person commit a crime in order to arrest them. They saw him fleeing from the area, but does that also necessarily mean he committed a crime? Did you actually witness him breaking in? Well, he looks like the suspect that we've been going after. Well, looking like and being are two different things. So they didn't know that.
That's the thing that I observed in law enforcement when like police would come up and jump out of a car or something, and somebody would take off running. I think that was portrayed in the movie Training Day. People can take off running all day. You did not observe a crime, so I was always told, if somebody take off running, let them run. They just out there exercising. You have no right to go and touch that person, detain that person, nothing. If they just take off running because they want to. And one thing I've noticed is that it's these police department rejects you'll see them around. They'll have a pickup truck. They'll have vinyl on there. I shared a picture on Facebook where they have made a vinyl here in Georgia. This truck, I took a picture of it. They have a vinyl of Kyle Rittenhouse on there. So these police department rejects, they'll have all of the Punisher emblems on their vehicles and stuff like that, and they, act out what they see on TV or in their minds and just go straight rogue. These vigilantes, back in the bull crap. So you have to watch out for those types, and that's just exactly what that is. We saw this play out over in North Carolina when the young brother was walking through his neighborhood, and the devil who was in the army, approached him, assaulted him, and then, people pulled up and he, fled his home. These are the personalities that you will encounter. And this is what I tell people. And, I work on scenarios. These things can come into your path without warning. So one thing we did in the military and also on the police department was we had scenarios. And whenever I host a training session on self-defense, I come up with scenarios because you have to get your mind ready for war at all times. There's threats that can pop up when you least expect it. When I'm outside working out or whatever, I'm thinking about what's the worst that can happen. People call it hypervigilance. Yes, sometimes it can be a little stressful, but you have to always, keep your head on a swivel. I think about these things. What would you do if you're out jogging or you're out pushing your stroller with your child and some crazy, insane, racists like the McMichaels? I mean, they had it on Facebook calling Black people the N-word. What would you do if your approach was someone yelling racial slurs and, physically assaulting you? You have to think on how you're going to protect yourself. And I think with our brother Ahmad, he showed that he was ready to, fight. Also, flight. He tried to avoid the situation. And you can tell that he was an athlete after running a couple of miles, and then he continued, trying to save his own life, and then he fought. That is one hell of a warrior right there. So I highly encourage everyone to, keep your mind war ready and also keep your physical up to par as well.
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, we'll continue to monitor this case. Something that I've hold dear to me. You guys can check out the video that I did called "Murder in Brunswick" that I did on the Ahmaud Arbery case, and it's a makes sense. And Aisha, thank you for stopping in. I don't know if you want to do these other videos. You're welcome to comment and so forth, because I wanted to move in a couple of lighthearted other areas. So if you want to stay by it, I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, let's go ahead and do that because it is a balance. Yes, we are in a really tight place right now, but also too, that comes with that MWR, that morale, welfare and recreation. We have to balance things out. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, I will be in the comments. I'll hang out as well.
All right. So yeah, y'all take a. So I was talking about this. Vietnam veteran stands up to transsexual city council person. This made my day. I was laughing. You'll see why in a minute, why I'm laughing, and hopefully you'll be laughing too at what happened here. This takes place, I believe, somewhere out in Aberdeen. I don't know exactly what city or state that's in, but this owner of the Sucker and Sons Star Wars shop out in Aberdeen, y'all tell me where that is if you know familiar with it. Oh, so it's in Washington. So Aberdeen, Washington, there was a confrontation between a council, they call her a councilwoman, but I'll say council person, Thaisa Meskis, who identifies as a trans woman, and confronted the store owner over a Star Wars memorabilia, a sign over his Star Wars memorabilia shop. The sign said, "If you are born with a blank, you are not a chick." So if you're born with so I'm gonna play the video. Ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn ready.
25 years, Don Suker has been known as the wacky owner of the Star Wars memorabilia store here in Aberdeen. But a transgender councilwoman says he's a bigot who went to the dark side on her.
You are not a woman. You don't look like a woman. You don't act like a woman.
The confrontation started inside.
Trans women are women.
And spilled into the street. Aberdeen Councilwoman Tiesa Meskis confronted owner Don Suker about a sign he posted in his store saying, if you are born with a slang for a male body part, you are not a chick.
What he wrote there was so demeaning and so dismissive of who I am and who any trans woman is.
Meskis, a trans woman, says she knows Suker has the right to say what he wants.
You're nuts. You need to back off now. No, you do.
But she wanted to tell him to his face it was hurtful.
I would really like them to open their eyes and their heart and see that, you know, we are people, we are who we are, and all we want to be is accepted in our community.
Now, I don't care what they do, but don't come in here and complain to me about stuff. I have free speech.
Suker says anyone who disagrees with him does not need to spend money at his store, where that sign was still visible today.
And everybody's loved it. Everybody's taking pictures of it. Everybody laughs.
Not everybody loved it as we saw it.
Well, yeah.
And some people think it's hurtful.
Well,
they told us that this hurt.
But here's the thing. I don't give about feelings anymore. I'm 70 and age. I went to Vietnam to fight for all. Do you think I care about some feelings? Absolutely not.
Supporters of the councilwoman are planning a protest out in front of the store Saturday morning at 10. Don Suker says he is calling on some of his backers for a show of support at the same time. In Aberdeen, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Now I gotta show it from another angle point. This is a 3-minute video. Y'all gotta see this.
You're gonna put that up and you're gonna let everybody else see it.
Well, everybody
When
loves
you're
it.
confronted by a trans woman, you're gonna hide it.
Everybody loves it.
No, I don't
They
think
take
so.
pictures of it. They post it.
9
9 out of 10 customers love it.
Yeah, you know what? It's bull.
No, what you're spouting is bull.
No, it's not. Trans women are women, sir. That sign is bull. As a trans woman, trans women are women.
What I'm telling you as a man, that's bullshit. You know what? Nobody confronts your ass. That's the problem.
Really?
If they say,
Really?
What the?
You want to bet?
What the? Is
You
going
know what I
on?
have
Do you know how many
to
people you've embarrassed at City Hall?
Me,
They have to-
embarrassment to city.
they have to
Really?
tolerate
You're
that
embarrassment
shit.
to the city, sir. You are an embarrassment to this city.
I am a
And
pillar
I'm
in the
sure that
city.
everybody knows.
I'm a pillar in this. Now,
Oh,
you
yeah.
do that. Do you know why? Every time some bullshit like this happens, my sales go up because people are wanting this.
Really?
You are nuts.
Wait,
You are nuts. You're not a woman. You don't look like a woman. You don't act like a woman.
Really?
Ahead. What's wrong with you? Well, look at yourself. For Christ's sakes.
Really?
For Christ's sakes, who would want to even be close? My God.
Really?
It's horrible.
I don't know why.
You
am I-
are not.
why am I so
You are
horrible?
not a. You still have.
None of your
Do you think there's one per chick?
I know a lot of people that agree with me and that accept me for who
You
I
know-
am. And the fact that you're going to be here with a sign like that.
Nobody confronts you. That's the
They
problem.
do.
You make me
That's bullshit.
uncomfortable because
Really?
you're nuts.
Wait for me.
Then you get out of my store.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trans women are women.
Jesus Christ, man. Get a clue.
Trans women are women. Trans women are women.
Leave. Leave.
Out of your store.
Leave. You leave. I'm here. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a?
You don't get to ask that.
I'll bet you do.
You are offended.
I don't care. I hope so. Good. Because I want to be in your face because nobody confronts your stupid ass. You're nuts.
You need to back off now.
No, you do. So back off.
Back off now. I am trying to leave. And you are
Why don't
following
you
me.
leave?
Are you gonna keep following me? Or are you just gonna check my ass out?
You check tonight.
Stop staring at my ass.
I would really like them to open their eyes and their heart and see that, we are people, we are who we are.
Some people think it's hurtful.
Well,
They told us that this hurt.
but here's the thing. I don't give about feelings anymore. I'm 70, I'm 8. I went to Vietnam to fight for all. Do you think I care about some feelings? Absolutely not.
I had to play it from that angle. Yeah, if y'all want to support me, yeah, you all can donate to the chat. You see the link at the bottom, but hit that like, share, and subscribe. Also, the super chat, if you could. He told no lies. Let me say this, because I live out, New Orleans and area I live in. I am, we have a large influx, large, support group for people in the LGBTQI community that are out here in the area. And, people are free to believe whatever they want. That's their business. People can live their life how they want, but so do others. And some things don't need to be forced down other people's throat. And this individual, the shop owner, he's of the position he doesn't give a shit no more. Don Sucker does not, he's got a good name there, doesn't care anymore. 78-year-old Vietnam veteran. What's wrong with, I saw somebody share something earlier about straight pride, but what's wrong with being straight? What's wrong with being a natural man or woman? If there weren't a natural man or natural woman, guess what? There wouldn't be a trans woman, or a trans man, whatever it is. And honestly, it's men and women who bring their sexual relationship that brings in life and creates new life. That's something that you don't even have to have a science degree to think of. We've learned this in biology. We take facts over feelings. That's exactly right, Taisha. But today it's the opposite. It's feelings over facts. People don't care about the truth, about what is hurtful to me. But this veteran, he's a Vietnam veteran, and he's almost 80. He grew up at a different time, but he doesn't care about your feelings. Living your truth is a lie. Yes. So Taisha, what did you think?
Oh my gosh, this is a touchy topic because you say the wrong thing, you get blocked, you get all this whole cancel culture and stuff like that. But I mean, what we witnessed, I can't say too much. I really can't because the filters and all that stuff. But I love being a natural Black woman. I love a natural Black man, and I love the natural Black children we have, and that's really all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't hold nothing back myself personally. I don't care, but like I said, there's nothing wrong with being straight. But what I'll say is this: people have freedom of speech. It seems like freedom of speech only applies if it's with the majority. If it's with what everybody wants you to go along, get along, that's when you have freedom of speech, not when it's disagreeing with someone else.
This here being a city council person,
yeah,
they work for the citizens, the residents, the business owners. So for this person to go toe to toe, with the business owner, the citizen of that area, that was very unprofessional. And, it was bullying. It was harassment. He told them to get out the store. They didn't get out the store, until they was ready. So it's kind of sort of trespassing, but this is conduct unbecoming of a public official. It was very inappropriate. And it seems like, why can't we have a society where I can judge your character as a person, the things that you've done? I don't give a crap what two consenting adults do behind closed doors. stop bringing it into every conversation. Stop wearing it on your sleeve. Stop, introducing it. Like if you're having a conversation about eggs and ice cream, but you want to talk about what you do in the bedroom and what hole you want it in, I don't care. Leave me alone. Like I said, two consenting adults, what y'all go and do, that's y'all business. Keep it. If it's supposed to be behind closed doors and it's not my business, stop making it public.
Yeah. Well, and I understand what you're saying about not being careful with your comments and words. I've had my channel stripped of videos over stuff like that. One video over this, I've had it taken out for others. And YouTube, of course, they're part of that whole movement. But this goes beyond just keeping it to yourself, obviously, because they're living like this, but they want everybody to accept this. It's like, you will accept this or else, because he is not the first individual that has done that. I remember the tantrum that was thrown at the GameStop when the guy called gender person sir, and he was the same height as the person in this video, roughly, probably bigger, and he said in his deep voice, "It is ma'am. I am a woman. It is man." You remember that one?
Yes, and they fail to realize that the testosterone, it kicks in and they start acting just like who they're running from.
Yeah, hold on, let me see if y'all remember this one, everybody. This one, this was when he went off. I know Tariq shared one where a guy was in Popeyes, but this is the one.
No, we're not doing credit. You're gonna give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you a fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize.
I need your corporate number because I'm going to call them and talk about how it was misgendered several times in the store.
I apologize.
I need your corporate number now. Get it for me now.
I'm going to ask you to calm down and stop cussing.
Give me your corporate number. Well, I'm going to ask you for the 5th time to stop calling me a man, because quite clearly I am not.
And I apologize. I'm sorry for that, ma'am. I will get you that number. Is that okay?
Yes, get it for me now.
I'm asking you to stop
Get it
cussing.
for me now. I'm not cussing. I'm not cussing.
Okay.
Get me the number now. Please.
Ooh. Ma'am, I apologize.
Ooh.
I will get you that number.
No, you're just gonna keep bumping your gums. You're just gonna keep bumping your gums and disrespecting trans people in this store, which I plan on telling the entire LGBTQ community. You're going to lose money over this.
You're gonna lose money over this. This aged well. Look what somebody else wrote. Is that bacon on your sandwich? Excuse me. It's ham. It's ham.
I'm just here for the comments.
Ma'am calls corporate. Corporate. Hello, sir. How may I help you? It's ma'am. I'm sorry, sir, but you sound like my Uncle Willie. I blamed Obama too. Yeah, Obama's in the news as well. Obama was at a party, I guess, and was wasted. From what I'm looking at from the comments on Twitter, and they made Erykah Badu take that down. I wasn't going to talk about that. But yeah, but that happened. But what did you, yeah, but I don't want your business, Mr. Sir. Yeah, you saw how crazy and insane he acted?
Yeah, that was totally uncalled for that display. It's like, okay, did you get dressed up to go and put on a show and to cause a scene and disrupt business? You know, that absolutely could have been avoided. You're in a gaming store where, you know, children could be present, but also too, the employees did not deserve that or need to be subject to that. I think it was just a performance and it was really inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's if you want to, well, I don't even think I should go there, but I just want to say that there's certain behaviors, and that's one thing that I'm pushing and promoting is embracing womanhood. You know,
Like Judge Joe Brown says.
yes, spotlighting femininity. Like we are not women, us natural women. We do not. Well, those of us who are not in mainstream media, what mainstream media is putting out to us, that's not us. And we are rejecting that. And it's really detrimental to us as a whole, because when you travel overseas, people in other countries, they make up their mind on what Black women or women in general are from what they see in the media. So when they see stuff like, you know, the so-called reality TV shows, or, you know, Lizzo's and, you know, Meg the morons and stuff like that, that's how they, you know, think they think all of us are, and we're not. So, you know, we are really rejecting that. And if you so-called want to transition, you know, into being, you know, whatever you want to be, a man or a woman, I'm sorry, a male or a female, because I don't assign men and women. There's more than just, you know, sitting down and standing up to pee. But if you're going to represent something, represent the best. And that right there is not the best. That is an irate, belligerent, out of control adult male, you know, who put on a performance. And you don't do that, because things like that go viral, it's seen all over the world, and that's how they paint. So I guess that's how he wants to represent, you know, Caucasian trained females.
That was a Darren.
It sure was a Darren. But yeah. So he does that does not represent me. I do not claim that. So yeah, he's just doing. I'm sorry. The ma'am is doing exactly what the ma'am is representing: confusion and hostility and all types of reckless behaviors.
Yeah. And I mean, nowadays, especially our leader, somebody said I blame Obama too. I mean, yeah, he was pushing that, but what it was that I had up, apparently there was a video of him. He was caught maskless during a celebrity packed birthday party. He turned 60 this weekend, and Erykah Badu had the video up, but they made her take it down. So that's what that was. So several celebrities were there, and was at Martha's Vineyard. Our officials who happen to be Democrats, hey, these are the people that are responsible for all of this stuff that you're seeing, like the videos I just saw and what's going on now. They're allowing, you know, the mayor and the governor up in California, Gavin Newsom, they're calling for him to be still impeached or forced to resign or recalled based off stuff going on. And I remember he got in trouble, as well as Nancy Pelosi, because when they were telling people to stay home, they were out at restaurants. They were out at getting their hair done without masks. It says here in this report, Mayor Muriel Bowser was criticized for celebrating her birthday maskless just hours before DC's renewed mask mandate was put into effect. Lori Lightfoot allowed the Lollapalooza music festival to go on. And she said, she reported that the event was outside and reportedly high vaccination rates. So the baby can't perform for homophobic or transphobic remarks, but they can allow large events to still continue with this Delta variant. Still, that's the point. It's the hypocrisy with all of this. But yeah, shout out to, I mean, I think a lot of people, though, Taisha, people are scared. And this is the part I'm talking about, because you were trying to be careful with your words. You can't speak the truth anymore because it's going to result in consequences. Those consequences may not be positive or negative, but you got to talk the truth no matter what. And what I like it, like this thing that's going on where Janet said they just saved the baby's life. Dude, Alexa, play "Dude Looks Like a Fella." No, I thought it was "Dude, you like a lady." Da, da, dude, you like a lady. Yeah, that was Aerosmith. I remember that from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's coming to a head now, because now with birth certificates, they want to remove gender from it. I don't want to be in the hospital and my wife and I are having our baby, and they tell me, "Congratulations, Mr. Richard, you have an it."
That's ridiculous. It's like, no, okay, negative.
No.
When we look at nature, we look at nature. You have the lion and the lioness. Okay, they, it's asinine. Like, you can't screw in a light bulb without the male and female ends. You cannot connect a water hose without the male and female end. It's like, oh, okay, now come on, let's go ahead and stop it.
Yeah, no electricity. When you plug
Exactly.
up,
And I think a lot of this stuff is for shock value. That's what it is. It's for shock value. That's what it is.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It's for
Yeah,
shock
this
value.
kind of here. Shout out to our sister Rosalind, and you're absolutely correct. I've known about. I think the first time I saw, like, I think at that time it was I think they'll call it now like a trans female, but we used to say it was a drag queen, or some other words that may get you canceled these days. At the hair salon, when I was a little girl, we'll go to the hair salon. My mom was a hairstylist, and we saw them there. We respected them, and if they wanted to be called Portia or Mercedes, we called them that. We just left it alone, and you just ask your mom questions like, "How come Miss Portia has a beard?" So, that's just. And then when you watch like the Real Housewives and stuff like that, they always had that friend, that hairdresser, that person. And I was against that, because they allowed these males to disrespect the black females. I'm gonna call them black females, because the behavior that they display was not womanly, but they allowed them to call them B words and cuss them out and touch on them inappropriately. So it's always been in our community, and we are the most tolerant.
Yeah, we are. And, Meg Thee Stallion just said recently that we got to do more to look to address the issues of homophobia in the Black community. I'm like, have you seen what's going on in the Republican Party? Why are you just talking in blacks? We are tolerant of stuff, but guess what? We don't have to agree with everything either. Just because we put up with it, just because we know people that are like it, but that may be that way, but we don't walk them down the aisle either. Wouldn't ask me to go to their wedding if I saw something like that. That's not my thing. Just like some things are not their thing, some things are not my thing.
And it's just like I said, consenting adults. Like I said, I have no control over what they do. Live your life as long as you're not hurting anyone, or things like that. Like I said, consenting adults are going to do what they want to do, but entertainers are not leaders. I call her Meg the moron, because she is a puppet. Like, who, if you watch the things that she do, it's absolutely detrimental to our image as Black women around the world. She does not represent me. I do not do the things that she do. However, she is given a platform. She cannot say anything on what we should and should not do, and she is forever annexed in my life, because she on Saturday Night Live, she used the voice of one of our warriors, our supreme warriors, great fighters, Malcolm X. And she's up there with her legs wide open, ass up in the air, disrespecting the words and the speech and the work that this man put in. And that goes for Nicki Minaj as well. She called him a looking A-word, N-word. I have no respect for these people. They are not representatives for us. Entertainers are not leaders. F them all.
No, they're not leaders, but people go to them. And even so, those leaders, those entertainers back then, a lot of them had more balls than they certainly had more balls then than they did now. I mean, you look at Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson was not only a opera singer, actor, well-trained thespian, but he was an activist. He was a lawyer, actually, as well. He was, and he's a righteous ancestor. He fought for his people. Other entertainers that we had that did things, you know, people like Dick Gregory, he gave up the prime of his career for the cause. He gave, you know, millions of dollars that he left on the table. You know, he could have done more movies. He could have done more TV roles, got more comedy records, and he had comedy albums and so forth. But, you know, he chose to sacrifice all of that for righteousness. He stood up for greatness, and that's the cause of that sometimes. We are the most acceptable and respectable people. Yeah, we fought for this country. We put it on the line and still do. Even when you treat us like shit. So like I said, black people, no, Meg Thee Stallion, it's not time. Why don't you talk about the racism that you experience in the record industry that goes on, that keeps hundreds of black artists broke? That's real crucial. The monies that you could get and those artists could get that could help finance a movement that gets held back time and time again by racist white and Jewish record executives. And we got some coon executives that are up in there too. You ain't gonna say nothing about that, but you want to talk about LGBTQ hate.
And I'm like, where? I'm like, where? And in Washington, D.C., the police department there, they have a unit that solely responds to calls for service in the LGBTQ community. Where else in the country? I mean, I don't see a foundational Black American response team for us.
Banded and should be legal because they're doing that for a specific group. If the law says 14th Amendment says equal protection under the law, it doesn't say what parties it's supposed to be. But the 14th, 13th, and 15th Amendment were supposed to be for African Americans. That's why it was created. So you're telling me in DC they have a specific task force for LGBTQ to when they get called by the police? Muriel Bowser is responsible for that?
Yes, there was a brother I knew who worked for, I believe it was Metro PD, and he stated that there was a specific unit that responded to calls for service for the LGBTQ community. Tell me why black people, foundational Black Americans, are the most targeted and murdered by police. However, we do not have that, you know? So yes, your tax dollars in that area pays for these people to get, and I want to say these people, that's a bad thing to say, I'm sorry, this particular group of people to have a specialized unit that caters to them and not the other citizens, especially black people in DC, so-called Chocolate City.
It's not Chocolate City no more. It's Skittles City. It's Rainbow City.
I'm sorry. And I'm not even going to call it Washington, D.C. Apologies and respect to the elder Ishaka Musa Barashango. That's Banneker City.
Talk about Ben Banneker. He was the architect of Washington, D.C. But this is the unit I think you're talking about.
Yeah. So tell me, where is this hate? Where is this all coming from? I mean, things are geared and catered. Even when I was a police officer in Newport News, Virginia, the one of the police recruiters, he organized a soccer field, a soccer day at the park for Hispanic citizens in that area, and majority and some were not citizens. They were illegal immigrants in the city, but he organized the department to stop and direct money towards this event to make Hispanics feel comfortable in the area. The only time I saw something happen that was for Black people, but it's for everybody, was handing out book bags. But at those events, they wanted to fingerprint Black children. So I'm like, okay, this is not equal.
That's right. They're heterophobic, Jennifer. You said, are we to determine how opposites attract? Well, our parents and grandparents and their parents did it before. So it just happens. There's no answer to it. It's in nature, Lamiko. It's in nature. It's always been. God said it that way. Yeah, but they always target our children. And you're right, Jennifer. Entertainers of the 70s and 80s weren't even like this. That they were gay. I mean, we knew Freddie Mercury was gay. We knew Elton John was gay. Black people still flocked to them. Another one, Bites the Dust. I had heard, and I don't know if I can confirm it or not, but my understanding was, and I doubt this, but they supposedly, people had said that they wrote that song to try and reach a Black audience and so forth, which wouldn't make sense since whites were the majority in the country. But nevertheless, it was Michael Jackson who suggested they release Another One Bites the Dust as their next single. And that's the biggest single for Queen. That's their highest selling single of all time. And you hear that bass line, that's Bernard Edwards' bass line. He didn't write that song or that bass part, but the John Deacon hung out with Bernard Edwards, and that's how they came up with that. He came up with Another One Bites the Dust. But you can listen to it. It's a straight R&B song. But, Elton John, when he wanted his album sales to go up, like I was talking with Brother Harvey Superboy, Elton John went on Soul Train with Don Cornelius. Yeah, we had Jermaine Stewart, Luther Vandross, Sylvester. Hell, we'll go back to the OG, Little Richard.
Shout out to him. I just went to his childhood home here in Macon, Georgia. So yes, we respect it, and at times, support it, protect it, those, because we got to know them, their personality and their gift and their talent. They didn't throw, what they did at home.
Black first. Let me say this: Little Richard, James Baldwin. Although I heard even Dick Gregory said James Baldwin wasn't gay, but I doubt that. But those men, James Baldwin and Little Richard, I'll use them as an example. They were Black first. They understood that their gayness was not equal to Blackness. They didn't dare do that. And Little Richard even talked about how the white record executives, when he would go on stage, they liked the fact that he would wear makeup, have his hair permed, and wear lipstick and how he talked, because the white girls that were in the audience that would come out to see them, they knew that they wouldn't find him as attractive like they would a Sam Cooke or a Chuck Berry or a Jackie Wilson, because those guys were straight heterosexual men. And girls would swoon over those men like that. Chuck Berry got in trouble, I think busted, when he was messing with a few white girls while he was performing on the road. They get in the car with him right there. But that was the type of a climate it was. The groupies came to the door.
And Little Richard, he even mentioned it. I think he was being interviewed by David Letterman, and he said, where I come from in Macon, Georgia, again, here in Georgia, it's real prejudice, and this is where I'm at. You can see the Confederate flags. You can see all that down here. So they knew who they were. They were Black first, and they let their talent, just break barriers and, just do great things.
Right. They didn't force it, and they didn't force it down their throat. And those guys grew up in the church too, so they knew better. They knew better, but even they said the same thing about Prince, but Prince was, I don't think Prince was gay. He was just wild. Prince had the baddest women. Prince had the baddest women on his arm. Like all the women he messed with, like Apollonia, Sheila E., Vanity. He had Madonna, and Madonna, she's been pushing that. She needs to go somewhere too, that old hag. So she's messing with a 27-year-old. I bet that's like kissing a mummy. It's like, let me bear with this. I got money to make. There you are. You dropped.
I'm back.
Yeah. I said Madonna got her 27-year-old. She's trying to come at the baby over his comments. That's like, you robbed the cradle. And I bet that boy, every time he kisses her, he's got a gargle afterwards. It's like kissing Himhotep.
You remember when Wayans Brothers and White Chicks was like, your mother's so old, her breast milk is powdered, and they blew it out? That's Madonna. And forget her, because I believe it was her. She had a slice of a watermelon and put it on one of the black children that she adopted. So forget her.
No, well, I'll go further than that. She puts one of her kids in drag, just like that other witch who says she can't get a man, Charlize Stern. No, Charlize Stern. You're poison. And I mean, all of these people, they made their monies off blacks. They got their start. Now, we don't do that light skin stuff, PD Chicago. Extra light skin? Nah. Alexander Dumas, who was the French, Afro-Frenchman, wrote The Three Musketeers. Stacey Lattisaw is light skin, yeah. I ain't got no money. No, but you look at it, Prince had all of the women. I mean, he was out there, but I remember when he died, they did his autobiography. They tried to say, I think it was on CNN, it was an autopsy documentary. They tried to say he messed with men and women. Game blouses, yeah. I mean, Prince, yeah. Even Michael Jackson, Michael wasn't gay, by no means. Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover was LGBT. J. Edgar Hoover, they say, was a Negro as well. If you read the unauthorized biography of J. Edgar Hoover, they talk about that. Dick Gregory mentions it. Yeah, but they don't talk about him. They don't talk about taking his name off the building, even though we know he killed Fred Hampton and Dr. King. And a couple other stuff he was involved with, a couple other killings, even having a role in covering up JFK's assassination. But I digress. We're going to continue to let y'all know what happens with this story, but I want to go to the next story because I didn't want to spend all day with this one, but I'm thankful for Taisha for being here. Shout out to her. Oh, Taisha got kicked out again. I don't know what happened. We want to say thank you to our 1,000 plus subscribers. Our final topic, of course, today, because I want to balance it out, low ratings for the Olympics, as it says farewell. Taisha, I don't know if you've been following the Olympics, but apparently for the last, I don't know, Jennifer, I remember asking a few of the content creators talking about Giovanni Jackson's daughter. Oh, yeah. And she got attacked. Taisha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I remember what Jennifer's talking about. I think Nicole did a video about her, but Giovanni Jackson was attacked. Her daughter, I should say. Joe Jackson's granddaughter got attacked somehow. I can't remember exactly when that happened, but it was sometime last year, and I think Nicole did a video on it. Yeah, Prince was the artist. He wasn't a artist, Rosalind. Be careful. He was the artist. Yeah, she was attacked by a trans. Yeah, they've been attacked by those people too. And a lot of people don't talk about that either. But I want to move on because I don't want them to suspect we're bashing the trans, and then they're going to take this video down. But well, we're not. But low ratings for NBC as the Olympics say farewell. I don't know if you have been following the Olympics, Taisha, but apparently they had some low ratings. This is coming from yahoonews.com. Declining ratings show the way for future TV viewing. So apparently they had the lowest rated Olympic rates, and this is at a time when everybody would be in the stands at, watching these in Tokyo. They have nobody there, no viewers, and you have most people still at home, and the viewership is down. According to Yahoo News, if you've been watching the Olympics, you're part of a much smaller group than in games past. Ratings for the Tokyo Games are down significantly from Rio in 2016, London in 2012, and prior games, like losing half the audience significant. NBC's overall TV audience for the Tokyo Games is down on average about 45% from the comparable Rio Games in 2016. This means that primetime viewership is down by 51%. This consists of both live and delayed events. Of course, since it's in Tokyo, they get the news much quicker, Japanese time, and they will post. I was getting alerts that, like, for instance, Simone Biles had won bronze in the high beam, and it didn't come on then, so it was played a little bit later. So they say right here that last Saturday's audience of 14.9 million ranked as the lowest ever recorded for a Summer Olympics, and breaking the record of the previous Wednesday. It's actually been down in the last 33 years. So how do ratings affect you? They say ratings allow NBC to set advertising rates and in turn receive sponsor revenue to offset the billions NBC pays to the International Olympic Committee for the rights to broadcast the games. The total is 7.75 billion from now through 2032. Lower ratings means NBC must change sponsors less, but since the ILC doesn't give discounts based on low ratings, NBC must make up for that revenue shortfall. Guess where that's going to come from? That means our subscription if you got a subscription to Peacock, it's going to go up. Lower ratings won't cancel the Olympics the way that they might a marginally popular TV drama. The Olympics aren't going anywhere, but if you want to see the games in all their full glory of the future, plan on paying up to $4.99 or more a month for streaming services. So that's going to happen next. But I mean, people are not interested in watching this stuff because of all the wokeness that's on there. As they say, you go woke, you get broke. There are even calls for advertisers, for instance, from Subway. They want the soccer player Megan Rapinoe and all those that kneel during the national anthem. They want them gone. They want them fired. Remember when the Olympics they did too, they had a transgender that participated in the competition. Someone was born male who identifies now as a woman, and that person flopped. And a lot of people were not happy about that. The men, just in general, some of the track teams, I'm going to just say it, some of it sucked. They were awful at points, even though the United States took home more medals than China, more gold than China by one. Subway had Jared, enough said. But bottom line is it sucked. They had to add other sports. They added surfing. They've added skateboarding. I'm just waiting for them to add dodgeball and Uno. If we do that, we're in, baby. So, had you been watching the Olympics, Taisha? You look like you could run track.
No, I am the mommy of a future Olympian. Like I said, my son, he competed in the Junior Olympics for track and field. So I try to watch at least track and field. And of course, I grew up watching Dominique Dawes, in gymnastics. So I tend to tune in for track and field. Mhm.
Flawless Dawes. That was her name.
Yeah, so those are the two sports that I tune in for. But this time, it was just a bunch of just shenanigans. I saw the double standard with drug use, and how it was okay for this group to make an excuse to get through, but then this group, we have to suspend you and ban you. A lot of the just I just wasn't able to focus on the blood, sweat, and tears, the hours, the dedication, the training that the athletes put in to get to this point. It just kind of seemed like a circus. So I tuned out, and shout out to our sister Simone Biles, for taking some time out for herself. And there's a lot to go along with that. But when I was seeing things like the athletes had to sleep on cardboard beds or something like that.
Yeah.
They tried to throw in the Black Lives Matter, which I don't support Black Lives Matter, and that whole agenda there, but they tried to make it seem like that was the equivalent of the stand that the heroes, I believe his name was, I'm sorry, Tommy Smith and John Carlos did, and also athletes like or past Olympians like the Honorable Muhammad Ali did back in the day and stuff like that. And then also, if you remember, Syria Bonali from France, the things that she had to go through, Gabby Douglas. So I couldn't get a chance to respect the work that these athletes put in to get to this great point. It was just a bunch of chaos around it, and that's why I did not tune in.
Yeah, I had watched it. And honestly, I did it because nothing else was on, and I was interested. And I've said this before. I was disappointed when Simone wasn't participating, but I learned that she actually had a loss in her family. Her aunt had died, and perhaps, and I know she explained why she got the twisties and stuff, but when people are telling you why they participate, they don't really tell you the whole story why they're not doing something. And perhaps that was something going on in the back of her mind, and she couldn't concentrate. You never know how people are or how sick they are. Look at what happened with the Black Panther. A lot of people were calling him Crack Panther when they saw those pictures of him, how thin he looked. But we found out that he was battling stomach cancer. And you just never know or colon cancer. And you just never know what a person is going through. And sometimes they don't want to talk about it because they know it may affect their money. And that's probably why he didn't say anything. And, and who knows? I actually thought they probably made Simone step down because they were judging her harshly, like because she was so great. I heard them deducting stuff from her automatically. I know that she didn't have a great event on the vault and so forth. But I honestly, it hasn't really attracted me that much. The Olympics. I remember the '96 Olympics when they had the bombing in Atlanta, and I remember when Kerry Strug, who supposedly she twisted her ankle, the Carolis was still forcing her to go on the gymnast vault to do the vault so that they could win the gold medal. You can do it. You can do it. That's where that comes from. When you look at the what's that movie, Waterboy and so forth, the Rob Schneider character, he got that from that. You can do it. So a lot of people a lot of people are starting to pay attention to what's going on, and they forced her to go out there. And another thing too, Simone Biles was the last of the women that were sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar, and maybe that could have had some effect on her as well. That's a thought. But yeah, the Olympic. Go ahead, Taisha. You unmuted yourself.
Oh yeah, no problem. I was going to agree with you. People think that when people have scars or you need a sick day, it's because of something that you can see. You know, you are vomiting or you just got stitches. No, a lot of scars and things that you have to take a break from and address with your mental health. You don't see that. Other people cannot see that. They see her as, okay, she can do this. She's not hurting. She's not crying. This, no, the stuff that I'm pretty sure she had to go through with even being able to catch a flight to get out there to, compete. We have to think about how we're all being impacted, post climax 19, the things that we have to do. And I'm pretty sure it was more of a headache over there, on top of practice, on top of, getting her routine, the separation from family, life on the road. So yeah, I totally commend her and anyone else who puts themselves first. The sport is going to be there after you are long and gone, and after they have made their money off of you and used you and put you on a curb for trash pickup. Take care of yourself. You are the business. It is you.
Yeah. Queen Adaya says nonverbal abuse is the worst since people cannot see the scars and the pain. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sympathetic to that. But y'all look at this video. This is the video I was talking about, Taisha.
At that time, they were called black music, race music, when I sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley, but they wouldn't put me on RCA. They put me on Camden. So when I would wear makeup, they would let me sing for the white girls. When I would put on eyelashes and all that, they would let me sing. But when I went as a just straight dude, they wouldn't let me sing. They thought I wanted the girls. So if I came out straight guy, they wouldn't let me sing. But when I came out with all the makeup on and all the eyelashes and all the hair, they said Richard is a good boy. I never was a good man, but I was a good guy.
Who is they that you're talking about here?
Some of the whites in Macon, where I'm from, I came from a little town. You know, it was real prejudice back in that time. There was a lot of people that would have loved to have been flamboyant, just like Kiss and Jimi Hendrix, which was my guitar player. He started out with me. Billy Preston, James Brown was my vocalist. Otis Redding, Beatles came with me. They started with me. Mick Jagger. All these people started with me.
So you really did have a dramatic impact and a great deal of influence on what would later become the mainstays of rock and roll music.
I was the architect. At that time, they were called black music, race music, when I sung rock and roll. I was on RC.
He's the architect. All the names he spouted out. Y'all thought for a minute I was going to say Little Richard was in the Olympics. He would have told you. Honey, I was in the Olympics. I ran track and field. They stole track and field from me. Woo! Lord, I tell you. Pole vaulting, that was me too. I could do flips, honey. I was just going to say that when I had that up, Little Richard also invented pole vaulting as well, Taisha. He invented the pole vault. He invented, he's the architect, so he invented trampoline. That's him too. He made a song called he made a song called Trampoline after Maybelline. His friend Chuck Berry did Maybelline. He did Trampoline. anything to get credit for the work he did. But y'all listen in seriousness to the names he spouted off that started with him, like Jimi Hendrix, who was his guitarist. He was actually childhood friends with James Brown, because James Brown was born in Carolina, but he grew up in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. You also had he mentioned Mick Jagger. The Beatles came up with him. Elvis Presley actually was doing a show in Las Vegas, and when he saw Little Richard, he stopped everything and broke down and cried, telling him, "You were the greatest." Yeah, Ray Charles. They have a Ray Charles statue that's dedicated to him out in Georgia. "Georgia on My Mind" is the song, even though Ray Charles didn't write that, but that's the song. The national song for the state of Georgia that's out in Albany, Georgia. This is his revolving statue.
I visited the statue a couple of months ago. I took a drive down there, and it was absolutely beautiful. It's right there along the Flint River, not to be mistaken with Flint, Michigan. But one thing that I noticed with the Ray Charles statue, and I visit our monuments a lot. If there's one in the area, I'm going to drive to it. And one thing I must let everybody know about is the disrespect. You'll have non-black people, come to the statues. They'll drop cigarette butts. They'll bring their dogs. It's like it's no respect for these historic, points. The only place that I saw that this was not happening was over in Montgomery at the Memorial for Peace and Justice, and that's because there was security on site, and they emphasized, do not bring trash or no smoking or anything like that to these areas. But there's a big disrespect for historic sites for foundational Black Americans here.
Now that wasn't the statue I played. That was a different statue. This is the Ray Charles Plaza statue out in Albany. You can see it revolving in the back.
And it also it plays music as well. Across the street from it is a hotel, and like I said, along the other side of it is the Flint River. But it's definitely a beautiful area, beautiful bridge, and there's a Veterans Park right next door to it.
So this was the unveiling. I don't want to play anything because I'll get a copyright strike. Yeah, but that's amazing. Oh, that's the hotel you're talking about.
Yes, it's definitely beautiful. If you're in that area, definitely check it out.
Well, I here in New Orleans, let me say this, we actually have historic musicians as well. Little Richard, Ray Charles are all tied to this because Little Richard recorded Tutti Frutti actually here in New Orleans. Yeah, he recorded that. A lot of the old rock and roll stars, they had before Motown, before Stax, this was the place to be in New Orleans because a lot of the major rock and roll recordings were here. Of course, we have Fats Domino. Fats Domino's house was in the Lower Ninth Ward. They're actually talking about renaming Robert E. Lee Circle as Fats Domino Circle. There've been talks about that, but Domino's house was off Catherine Avenue in the Lower Ninth Ward. This was his home here. And y'all can see it's on Google. Let me show y'all.
That is a great tidbit. Thank you.
Yeah. My dad, well, my family knew Fats. He was close friends with my great uncle. He was very close friends with him. And my dad met him, knew his daughters, because Fats Domino had like 11 kids. But he had, my dad was working in the pharmacy and called his name, said Antonio Domino. That's me, gave him his prescription. Talked to, and how kind he was. He said, we're having red beans and rice. He was talking to one of his friends Sunday morning. Y'all come over. You come over too, young man, talking to my dad. Said, Antonio Domino, I wonder if he's related to Fats. And the store owner said that was Fats Domino. My dad was shocked. He didn't know that. But yeah, but and he was also an architect of rock and roll music. He was the opposite though of Little Richard because Little Richard was out there, Little Richard was out there, unlike Fats. Fats was a shy individual. but you guys should look at Dave Bartholomew. That's Alan Toussaint. But David Bartholomew, he was the producer of most of Fats Domino's music. He died actually not too long ago, 100 years old. That's a blessed life. He's the same age as my grandfather. Well, he grew up same year my granddaddy was born. For both of them. Yeah, there's a lot of history, but Tutti Frutti, let's see. Where was that recorded? That was recorded, yeah, Specialty Records, which is right here at J&M Studio in New Orleans, yeah. So it was very popular. Earl Palmer was the drummer. He's from New Orleans. So there's a lot of history in the South about these rock and roll music. That's the original lyrics to Tutti Frutti. Tutti Frutti, good booty. If it's tight, it's all right. And if it's greasy, it makes it easy. Ugh. Lord. He didn't hold nothing back. But he had to. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. And if you had any questions, please visit our sister Taisha Essex website. Visit her website, get some of her products. And I see you're offering on the trial-Ahmad's website, you're offering gun training, so concealed weapons training, or is it just handgun training?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I am offering. I just became a firearms instructor, so I am now offering training, one-on-one training or small group training here in Macon, Georgia. So you'll just click the link to find out more. And yeah, I'm excited because it's one thing to have products, but I want to also share my wisdom and education. And one thing I let people know is like I'm not an expert. I do not know everything. I'm still learning. In the words of Elder Neely Fuller Jr., I'm still learning, and I want to share and erase the fears and things like that associated with legal firearms ownership.
Yeah. Taisha, I'm curious though, how does one become a certified instructor? Do you go through the NRA to get that?
There are different platforms that you can use. Different companies. I know there's a few out there. You have the yes, you have the NRA. You have, I believe it is the USCCA, and I believe there is another company that offers firearm training, or you can get training through your employer as well. Like I said, my background in the military, you could have became a firearms instructor in the military or with the police department. They'll send you to do training and certify you as well.
Okay, very well. Yeah, there's ways you can do that through the NRA or through what they call SAFETY firearms instructor, SAFTEA firearms instructor. All right. That's one way. Yeah, some people have issues with the NRA, and I do too. But you know what? If you can, people you're gonna have in life working with people that you can't stand. But if you're trying to reach a certain goal and so forth, you gotta come together with some people sometimes, even if you don't like it, and gotta hold your nose. We all do it. We work with people we don't like every day. But it's just this stuff we've heard. So anyway, Sister Taisha, you guys check out trial-Ahmad. You check out her website. But shout out to you. Congrats. And Taisha, is there any last thing you want to say before we get out of here?
Just want to say salute to you and thank you for your consistency. You're here, when you say you're going to be here, you bring us constructive information. So thank you so much. We are celebrating your victory. Shout out to everybody in the chat who's going to watch the video. Thank you. I really appreciate you inviting me here, giving me a time to, speak with your audience and offer commentary as well. Just want to encourage everyone to research, remain a hard target, keep your head on the swivel, but also to love yourself, and, the rest will, follow. Get your mind right, I don't know, just do great things. And like you said, check out Timonics.com for all your self-defense gear. You can find out more about me at TaishaEssex.com. You can connect with me on my social media platforms. I will accept your friend request on Facebook only if Brother Gavin is a fellow friend, because I'm getting a lot of weird people. I'm like, ew, who are you? But yeah, that's about it. And I'm looking forward to your next broadcast tonight, correct?
No, this is the only broadcast I have today.
Okay.
I don't vet my time vary when I come on Sundays, but Tuesdays, Sundays, and Thursdays. So
all right, that's what's up. So it's always an honor. I missed you so much, so I can't wait to get out there to Louisiana and get some good food, good music, good history, and just be around great people. So thank you for all you do.
No problem. And you got to check out the websites. Nani's Creole Blends. That's my seasoning company. That's for everybody else. If you all want to purchase some seasoning, that'll go good. I don't know what y'all eat up in Georgia there. I know you got the southern fried food, but you could put it on macaroni and cheese or fried chicken or whatever. I'm not trying to play to the stereotype, but I know what everybody.
I'm going to get some now. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That's all I need to hear. Nolan's seasoning. I'm done. All right. I'll be doing a video review soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd appreciate it. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. And all this goes great with every dish. Also, if you guys can download the song, got to get on up or purchasing the song actually would be even better if you're able to do that. You said NAGA does it. They may do. I guess they could. You could look at that. But also tune in Tuesday. I don't know what topic we'll be talking about. I might have Brother Alan here come on. It might be another celebrity debt. Last Sunday we did our talk about the murder of Enos Cosby, which was a great discussion. But I think Taisha timed out on us again. But I'm going to end things right now, guys. You be safe, be blessed. Please download the song, get on up, buy it, live stream, check out Nani'sCreoleBlends.com. And also, if you could, subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to my podcast on Anchor. I have the Gavin Richard Presents, as well as the Hot Topics with Gavin Richard, which the lovely Valerie Denise Jones produces. So you guys tune in, be safe, be blessed. And again, go to TaishaEssex.com. All right. Shout out to everyone. Thank you, Taisha. I appreciate you coming on, and I'll chat with you a little bit later. All right, guys, I'm out. I'll holla. Peace.